Chapter 12. Business Environment. Introduction. Every business in some way or the other is related to different variable factors of the society like economic, social, cultural, technological, political and legal, or groups like consumers, competitors, suppliers of raw materials, employees, etc. For example, a business sells its product or service to the consumers. It gives employment to the employees. It purchases raw materials from the suppliers. It keeps competing with the product and service of the competitors. Hence, no business can be operating itself being aloof from the society. Various surrounding factors affect the business. A group of such factors is known as business environment. The one thing that is true of business environment is that it is quite uncertain. There are three types of business units with reference to business environment. 1. The business units that expect the environmental aspects well in advance and bring necessary. 2. The business units that bring necessary changes based on the existing environmental situation. 3. The business units that are not in a position to adjust to the existing environment easily. 1. Meaning, economic, social, cultural, technological, legal factors are all included in business environment. There are a number of groups like consumers, employees, competitors, suppliers of raw materials who are all part of business environment. Business environment is a combination of various environments which creates new challenges and new opportunities. Any decision taken in business activity will have to take note of this aspect. There are so many factors and obstacles involved in business environment which are not in any way under the control of an entrepreneur, firm, manager or industry. A firm or manager will have to work in the existing business environment. Due to the continuous change in the situation of a country, the policy also keeps changing. Thus, business environment is constantly changing because of its changing factors, and its effect is always there on business, directly and indirectly. It is imperative for a manager to keep an eye on such factors and change the process of management accordingly. Business environment can lead to obstacles as well as opportunities. The various obstacles arise due to economic conditions, rituals and habits, governmental controls, availability of raw materials, availability of trained employees, etc. For example, due to political and bureaucratic setup of India, foreign direct investments are less when compared with China. On the other hand, there is a continuous rise in the demand for air conditioners due to improvement in economic status of the consumers and then changing preferences. Due to this, domestic as well as the multinational companies are bringing in various models in the Indian market. There is expansion and growth of new business opportunities due to improved technology, continuous research and development, and improvement in standard of living. Importance. 1. Advantage of early entry. A study of business environment enables a business unit to understand the opportunities in the market in a better way and hence introduce the product in the market. There is also possibility of change brought in the existing product even before its competitors and earn profit. For example, for years, the two-wheeler market was dominated by scooter and sales of motorcycles was negligible. A cycle manufacturing company forecasted that the demand for motorcycles will increase in future, and it collaborated with a foreign company for technology and made motorcycles popular, though at present due to various reasons there is no prevalence of collaboration, it still continues to dominate the motorcycle market with the maximum share. 2. Sensitivity of the management. Management has become increasingly sensitive towards the factors affecting business environment. Profit becomes the major objective of every business unit, and constant study of factors affecting business increases the profitability. For example, a unit which was dominating the camera market for years in India decided to produce printer and copier machine to increase a production capacity and its profitability. 3. Grab opportunities. Business environment opens out various opportunities which, when grabbed, can lead to increase in profit. For this, an understanding of environment is essential. For instance, in the international market, there is a continuous rise in the price of petrol and diesel, which has led to rise in the demand for fuel-efficient vehicles. Many producers have stopped using steel in the vehicle and, in its place, lightweight yet tough fiber material is being used. This had led to more profitability for these companies. 4. Identifying dangers. Continuously changing business environment has a number of dangers. Consumers reject certain products. If such dangers are identified well in advance, changes can be introduced. For instance, though radio was popular in the initial years, but after the introduction of television, it lost its importance. Later, when service of radio changed with the introduction of FM, that is, frequency modulation band, various frequencies and bands were introduced. Each band has its own announcer in the form of, that is RJ, radio jockey, and MJ, that is music jockey, and their style is different from the traditional patterns of announcement. This has led to a rise in the popularity of radios once again. 5. Helpful in policy decisions. A businessman will have to understand and analyze the business environment. If he redesigns his policy decisions, he will be placed in a much better situation. For example, insurance business in India. 1. Life insurance. 2. General insurance. After independence, insurance business was nationalized, and after 1991, as a part of change in the financial policy, the existence of private companies in the insurance business was accepted. In later years, in the private Indian insurance companies, foreign direct investment of multinational insurance companies also got accepted. In this way, various business houses in different business fields also started working in the insurance field. Government gives priority to the insurance business. In this environment, business enterprises have set up private insurance companies and have multinational insurance companies participating as direct partners. Through this, they have concentrated on the development of insurance business. 6. Continuous study. Management is made to study the business environment on a continuous basis. This has led to a continuous rise in the size and profit of the business. A study of business environment enables the manager to know future trends like situation of capital market or future demand for the products produced by the business. Through this, a business unit can take up proper planning. For example, in the field of computers, there is a continuous innovation in new software and hardware, and those who are involved in this field should be constantly updated. This alone can lead to a continuous development in this field. 2. Factors affecting business environment. Factors affecting business environment can be divided into two broad classifications. Factors affecting business environment. Internal factors, external factors. Internal factors. 1. Business objectives. 2. Employees. 3. Managerial systems. External factors. 1. Economic factors. A. Economic system. B. Degree of economic development. C. Regional development and international integration. D. National and per capita income. E. Distribution of national income. F. Monetary policy. G. Fiscal policy. H. Other factors. 2. Social factors. 3. Cultural factors. 4. Technological factors. 5. Political factors. 6. Legal factors. 1. Internal factors. Internal factors in a business environment are those which can be largely controlled by the managers. Such factors can be changed by the manager according to the requirement. For example, objectives of business, employees, organizational system, etc. 2. External factors. External factors are those which are mostly not under the control of the managers. Business should be changed according to such external factors. These factors can be classified as economic, social, cultural, technological, political, legal, etc. Factors affecting business environment. 1. Economic factors. The business decisions of any society or country have a direct impact of special features or the limitations of that economy or society. The size and the nature of business development are predominantly dependent on economic aspects, and the following are the important aspects. A. Economic system. The working of any economic system and the direction of economy is primarily decided by the economic system. If capitalistic system is prevalent, it means the policy adopted will be that of free trade. In this system, all the major decisions are taken by the producer himself, and this boosts the business. In the capitalistic system, governmental intervention is relatively low. As against this, in a socialistic system, all major decisions are taken by the government and individual incentive is nominal. India has adopted a mixed economic in which certain sectors have business freedom while certain others will have governmental dominance. In this way, economic system plays a major role in determining the structure of business in the country. B. Degree of economic development. The answer to the question whether a country is developed, developing, or underdeveloped from the point of view of an economy can be seen from the favorable or unfavorable business structure. Developed country is such a country in which the level of gross national income and per capita income is high. All the available resources are fully developed, and that encourages growth and development of business and industry. Developing country is that where national income and per capita income are showing rising trends, the use of existing resources is on the rise and the living standard of the people is on the rise. Business opportunities increase in such countries. The social structure also undergoes transformation, which becomes favorable for business. In underdeveloped countries, income levels are very weak and it weakens the growth. This makes development of business very weak. There is unutilization and underutilization of available resources. Hence, overall situation of slow economic development can become an impediment to business development. C. Sectorial growth and intersectorial combinations. Agricultural, industrial, and service sectors play key roles in economic development of a country. Agricultural sector can be termed as a primary sector if a major section of population earns their livelihood from agricultures. Development of agricultural sector leads to the aggregate development of an economy. Major economic resources are used only in primary aspects if an economy is predominantly agrarian. This makes industrial growth very slow. Minerals and metals are used in the industrial sector. The production of physical goods is also related to more use of manpower too. Innovation and modernization process gets an impetus which increases business opportunities. Social and economic services comprise the service sector. If transport, communication, banking, tourism, education, health, etc. develop, then investment possibilities in business increases and there is corresponding rise in the development possibilities too. Thus, as there is a greater tendency towards service sector from agricultural and industrial sector, the business opportunities keep increasing. But any society can develop only when all the sectors can bring about growth jointly. For example, to bring prosperity in agriculture, there is an increase in demand for fertilizers, good seeds, mechanization, and to make it reach, the services of service sector is needed. Thus, agriculture, industry, and service sector are dependent on one another, and the development of one sector is responsible for the development of the other sector. So, sectorial changes bring about a favorable environment for industrial business. D. National income and per capita income. A rise in national income creates a favorable situation for a business unit. The national income rises, and if the population does not rise, proportionately, the rate of rise in per capita income will be more than the rate of rise in national income. When national income and per capita income rise, there will be a rise in demand for goods and services and other basic necessities which will be favorable for business. When income rises, the demand for superior quality goods, that is, luxurious goods and branded clothes also rises. E. Distribution of national income. The distribution of national income explains the economic differences between different sections of the society. Higher the inequalities of income, more will be the demand for luxurious and prestigious goods and services. Changes in the distribution of national income impact have on the demand for goods and services. F. Monetary policy. Monetary policy includes changes in interest rates, inflation rate, credit creation, credit availability, etc. For instance, if the interest rate on housing loan is reduced, there will be a rise in the demand for houses and also for all industries which are related to housing like cement, steel, furniture, sand, sawdust, bricks, etc. G. Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy depends on the tax structure and governmental expenditure. Following are the main objectives of fiscal policy. First, maximum utilization of resources and factors. Second, distribution of resources in the best possible manner to achieve first economic development. Third, bring about equal distribution of resources in the best possible way. Fourth, stabilize prices of goods and services. There are two important aspects seen in the fiscal policy. First, how can the tax structure be made effective for individual, units, and the entire industry? Second, how much is the effect of public expenditure on economic activities? H. Other factors. Other factors like raw materials, its supply, components of machinery, financial facilities, manpower and its productivity, etc. have positive and negative effects on economic factors. 3. Liberalisation, privatization and globalization. After independence, mixed economic system was accepted, but as changes were made to suit to varying situations, as required results were not seen. After July 1991, Indian economy started the process of liberalization, globalization and privatization. Liberalization, meaning the period in between 1947 to 1991 was of the environment of control for trade and industry in India. Liberalization in simple terms is a movement of business and trade from a controlled to an open and free system. Till July 1991, various types of controls and barriers were imposed. But as a part of new liberalized setup, the Indian government started reducing the intensity of controls in a phased manner. In certain sectors, controls have been removed completely or to a maximum extent. Effects of liberalization. 1. Earlier there was a barrier to foreign direct investment in Indian industries, but now such restrictions has been removed. Its maximum limit, which was very low, gradually it has been increased. To attract foreign investors and businessmen, various economic and non-economic incentives and exemptions are being given. 2. To attract more foreign investments in the field of share market, the procedure of purchase and sale of shares have been made completely transparent by taking various steps. To change the nature of shares from physical to electronic, that is, dematerialization, DEMAT, has been introduced. The purchase and sale of shares and the transactions of money involved therein has been made more transparent and the procedures are based on international indicators. 3. Steps are being taken by the government to make tax structure more simple and transparent. Sales tax, excise duty are being simplified and procedure to introduce GST, that is, Goods and Services Tax, has already implemented since 1st July 2017, which is a very important step in simplification of tax structure. A control on tax system has been minimized. 4. The symbol of Indian currency rupees has been introduced. Indian currency, that is INR, is given relief under certain terms and conditions in forex market. 5. License Raj has almost been removed from India. Before liberalization, most industries were dependent on license, and now as part liberalization, the quantum of license are almost nil. 6. Collected efforts are being made to increase the exports of India. Various incentives are being given to Indian industries To promote exports, import duties are also being reduced. 7. As foreign exchange situation is improving, Foreign Exchange Management Act, that is FEMA, is prevalent, and the old Foreign Exchange Regulation Act, that is FERA, has been cancelled. The type of change in the Act helps to understand that there are no barriers for the entry of foreign exchange, but the flow of foreign exchange is to be managed so that it is made available for the development of business. 8. Various changes have been made in Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act, that is MRTP Act, and number of relaxations have been made in the Act. Still, certain unwanted controls of business practices are continued with restrictions. 9. At present, Reserve Bank of India has given freedom to various banks to decide the deposit and lending rate of interest subject to certain conditions. This practice was not there earlier. 10. Imports of goods and services have become easier. Payment of foreign exchange has become simple in recent years, subject to certain terms and conditions. Availability of foreign exchange for the purpose of foreign tours, sending children for foreign education, or for the purchase of property in the foreign country is made very easy. From the mentioned points, it is proved that the Indian economy is moving fast towards liberalization from a controlled economic system. Privatization, meaning privatization refers to transfer of control and management of public sector enterprise to private sector, or in other words, the process of passing on the ownership and management of public sector unit to private firms. Concept: after independence, it was expected that public sector will play a major role in fulfilling various objectives of the economy. To provide infrastructural facility and develop key industries, public sector should play a major role. Immediately after independence, the private sector was not ready to invest in such fields where an expected returns was lower. The government started providing infrastructural facilities by encouraging public sector development and thus began production of goods and services through public sector enterprises. In various 5-year plans, public sector was given utmost importance. Post 1991, as a part of economic policy, privatization was also accepted, and that resulted in a change in the role of public sector. Continuous loss-making units have been structurally changed and few others were closed. Many public sectors offered equity shares to the general public and increased public-private partnership. When shares are sold to private enterprise, it was known as privatization. When public sector units offer its capital for the participation of general public, it is known as disinvestment. Government of India has started separate ministry for disinvestment. Government started giving greater importance to education and other infrastructural facilities. Another important reason for the privatization is the increasing inefficiency and non-achievement of target. Inefficiency in public sector is due to number reasons. Following are a few. 1. Bureaucracy. 2. Absolute technology. 3. Rising corruption and bribery. 4. Absence of accountability. 5. Growing influence of labor unions. 6. Political inference, etc. Favorable effects of privatization. 1. Rise in productive efficiency. 2. Absence of political interference. 3. Qualitative goods and services. 4. Systematic marketing. 5. Use of modern technology. 6. Hierarchical setup for accountability. 7. Creation of competitive environment. 8. Advantage of research and development. 9. Advantage of modernization and innovation. 10. Maximum utilization of factors of production. 11. Availability of infrastructural facilities. Negative effects of privatization. 1. Exploitation of employees. 2. Misuse of powers by top management. 3. Unequal distribution of income and wealth. 4. Absence of job security. 5. Priority to profit. 6. Consumer exploitation, etc. In spite of various negative effects of privatization, government has been giving more importance to privatization. Government has given number of public sector units to private sector. Still, government holds 51% or more of equity capital, but it has sold shares to private sector or general public, which continues even now. Thus, the period in between 1951 to 1991 was dominated by public sector, but after 1991, its importance started diminishing and private sector's domination started increasing due to privatization. Globalization, meaning when any country permits foreign companies to do business in their domestic economy and allows domestic companies to do business globally, it is known as globalization. Concept: earlier, every country used to protect its industries from foreign competition, and globalization was not acceptable. In the beginning, the companies of developed countries used to set up industries or start selling their goods and services in developing and undeveloped countries, for which developing and underdeveloped countries give permission. Subsequently, developing and underdeveloped countries also allow their companies to do business in other countries. Actually, globalization is a two-way activity. When multinational companies get permission to start industries in other countries, in the same way, domestic companies can also do so in developed countries. In this way, internationalization of industries can be seen. To develop business and industry of the entire world, an arrangement was needed at the international level, which resulted in the formation of World Trade Organization, that is, WTO. This organization takes effort to develop business and trade all over the world. It enables its member countries to eliminate the barriers that arise in the path of globalization. India is a member of WTO since its inception, and hence the process of globalization has become slightly easier. As a part of the policy of globalization, India has accepted the GATT, that is, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff, and it has accepted foreign products and services to enter the country subject to certain conditions. Globalization has enabled a fast growth of service sector. The borders of countries started extending for banking, insurance, transportation, communication, and these services can be extended to other countries. The world has shrunk to a global village. The international consumer market has developed, and now India has also started playing a major role. Positive effects of globalization: 1. Large-scale production. 2. Increased competition leads to greater consumer protection. 3. Consumers get improved, technically upgraded product at an economical price. 4. Opportunities of employment generation. 5. Consumers will be able to use quality products and service at a low price. 6. Speedier generation of infrastructural facilities in the country. 7. Increased importance of education has led to increase in spread of education. 8. Easier to set up new industries. 9. The whole world is becoming a global village. 10. Freedom from political bureaucracy and red tapeism. Negative effects of globalization. 1. Arrangement for market setup becomes difficult and costly. 2. Rise in the production of luxurious goods and services at the cost of necessities. 3. New problems arises because of the change in human mentality. 4. Rise in inequalities of income and wealth distribution. 5. Spread of economic situation of one country or continent to other countries quickly. 6. Competition is at the cost of ethical values. 7. Larger units get more profit and small-scale units experience difficulty to survive. 8. When the spread of education is relatively lesser than the spread of development, the competitive ability of employees become weak. 9. Multinational companies show more loyalty to their home country rather than to the host country. 10. Internationally renowned companies influence the monetary policy of the country, which is suitable to them by collaborating with the political parties.